The curious exchange student Zira stepped off the spaceship and took her first breath of Earth's air. It smelled strange, too clean, too soft. Her long silver hair caught the wind, and her four-fingered hand clutched the small translator device, hanging from her neck. She had never been on a death world before, and Earth, with its unpredictable weather, oceans, and loud creatures, was considered a low-level death world in her star system. But it wasn't the animals she feared most. It was the humans. They were mysterious, powerful, strange, and worst of all, they didn't eat their mates after mating season. That thought alone gave Zira chills down her back. On her planet, males consumed their partners to absorb their strength. It was the final step of bonding. So why didn't humans do that? Were they too weak? Or did they have some darker ritual? Zira had been chosen for the Interworld Cultural Exchange Program. She had no choice. It was an honor for her species. Her mission was simple: live with a human host family for 40 Earth days and observe their behavior. Learn, report, survive. The shuttle door opened fully, and standing below the ramp was a smiling teenage boy in jeans and a hoodie. He had messy, brown hair and held a cardboard sign that said, "Welcome, Zira." He waved. "Hi, I'm Jake, your host." Zira's eyes narrowed. His teeth were showing. Was that a threat? Or a greeting? She slowly walked down the ramp, her boots clicking against the metal, scanning the area for escape routes. Jake stepped forward and offered his hand. Zira froze. A handshake? Or was he trying to grab her wrist to pull her in? She nodded stiffly instead, avoiding contact. "Greetings, human male Jake." Jake chuckled. "You can just call me Jake. Welcome to Earth." The hook. First 5 to 7 minutes. That night, Zira couldn't sleep. She was staying in a human bedroom inside a strange wooden house. Everything smelled like fabric softener and cooked meat. The bed was soft. Too soft. She lay under a blanket staring at the ceiling. She had observed Jake all evening. He was calm, friendly. Offered her food without touching her. He even gave her her own room. Too polite. Suspiciously polite. Back on her planet, males became aggressive once bonding began. This human? He laughed at cartoons and gave her a hoodie that said, NASA. She glanced at the corner where Jake had left a soft toy. A teddy bear. What kind of predator slept with a soft toy? Zira sat up, whispering into her translator. Day 1 report. The human male shows no signs of mating aggression. He smiles too much. Offers warm beverages. Suspect possible trick. Will continue to observe. She tiptoed to the window. The moon was shining brightly. Earth's night sky had fewer stars. No sign of warships. No threat from above. She suddenly heard a soft noise outside her door. Footsteps. Her heart jumped. Was this the moment? Was the human finally coming to complete the ritual? She grabbed a fork from the table and crouched behind the bed. The door creaked open slowly. Jake peeked inside, yawning. He rubbed his eyes and whispered, "Hey, just checking if you're okay. I heard movement." Zira said nothing. The fork shook in her hand. Jake smiled sleepily. "You can use the kitchen if you're hungry. There's fruit in the fridge. Good night." Then he closed the door and left. Zira blinked. He left? Just like that? No attack? No traps? She walked to the door and locked it, then whispered again. New data. Human male possibly malfunctioning. Or extremely patient hunter. Next day at school, Jake guided Zira through the school hallway. She wore a hoodie with the hood up, hiding her alien features. Her skin was light purple, and her eyes had a faint glow, too different to be shown openly. But Jake had promised to help her blend in. She stayed close to him, still unsure. In the classroom, Zira saw humans laughing, sharing food, tapping on tiny screens and making strange gestures. Some touched each other's arms without fear. Her eyes went wide when a boy kissed a girl on the cheek. The girl giggled, no biting, no screaming, no blood. Zira's voice trembled as she whispered to Jake, Why did he not eat her? Jake looked confused. Huh? She looked around cautiously and leaned closer. Is he waiting for the full moon? Jake blinked. What? No. That's his girlfriend. It's called love. Zira tilted her head. Love? Is that a kind of poison? Jake burst out laughing. No, it's when two people like each other so much that they stay together. They date, talk, hold hands. You know, romance. Zira stared at him. No. She did not know. And now she was very, very curious. And very, very confused. The biology class. That changed everything. Zira sat in the back of the biology classroom, her arms crossed tightly over her chest. She didn't like this place. Too bright, too noisy, too full of humans. The teacher, a tall man with glasses and a soft voice, was drawing something strange on the whiteboard. Two stick figures, one with long hair, one without, stood side by side. Between them, arrows and hearts were drawn. Jake leaned over and whispered, We're learning about human reproduction today. You okay with that? Zira's eyes widened. You show that publicly? Jake laughed. It's science. Chill. She didn't know what chill meant, but it probably didn't involve biting or blood, so she nodded. The teacher smiled at the class. All right, everyone. Today we're going to discuss how humans create life, our reproductive system. It's a natural and important process. Zira sat up straight. This was it. The moment to learn the hidden rituals of humans, the violent secret mating dance. Maybe the truth would be revealed now. The screen flickered on. A peaceful animation began playing. A male and female holding hands, smiling, getting closer, hugging, kissing, and finally, laying gently beside each other. Zira's jaw dropped. She stood up from her chair so fast it squeaked. Where is the blood? Everyone turned to look. The teacher blinked. Excuse me? Zira pointed at the screen. Where is the fight? Where does the male bite the female? This is not mating. This is friendship wrestling. Half the class burst out laughing. Jake quickly pulled Zira back into her seat. Zira, calm down. But Zira was trembling. In her world, mating was wild, dangerous. The male must overpower the female. If he failed, he died. If he succeeded, he devoured her. But here, humans did it. Softly, they called it love. Zira's internal report later, in the school garden during lunch, Zira sat with her tiny recorder. Day 2 report. Humans have strange mating rituals. No combat, no blood, they just kiss and smile. It is terrifying. Jake sat beside her, eating something round and yellow with cheese. Zira stared. You eat solidified animal milk? Jake blinked. Pizza? Yeah. Want a slice? She hesitated. On my planet, milk is only for newborns. We feed it to warriors, to make them weak. Jake laughed. Here, pizza makes us strong. She took a small bite. Her eyes widened. It's not terrible. The hallway encounter as they walked to the next class. A tall human boy bumped into Zira by accident. Her reflexes kicked in. She spun around and grabbed his wrist. State your intention, she barked. The boy stared, shocked. Dude, I just bumped into you. Chill. Zira didn't let go. Do not test me. I am trained in 3 types of limb removal. Jake pulled her away. Zira, he didn't mean it. It was an accident. She looked confused. On my world, bumping is how males show challenge before mating. Jake sighed. We don't do that here. Zira frowned. You humans are too gentle. How do you know who's the strongest? Jake smirked. We play dodgeball. Later that night. Zira Googles. Romance. Back home, Zira couldn't sleep. Her mind was full of strange questions. Why didn't human males hunt their mates? Why did they give flowers instead of teeth marks? And why did she feel warm inside when Jake laughed? She turned on the small Earth computer Jake had given her. She typed slowly. How do human males choose females? The answers shocked her. Through dating. Based on emotional connection. Looks, personality, chemistry. Chemistry? Did humans smell each other like animals? She searched more. What is love? What is dating? Why do humans kiss? Her eyes widened more with every click. She whispered, humans don't eat their mates. They protect them. They hold hands. They write songs for them. She closed the laptop and looked out the window. Jake was outside watering flowers. He smiled when he saw her through the glass and waved. Zyra slowly raised her hand and waved back. Something strange happened inside her chest. A small warmth. A tiny spark. She pressed her hand over her heart. New data, she whispered. I may, Pearson catching human emotions. She wasn't sure if it was dangerous, but she knew one thing: she had to keep observing Jake. Very closely. Zira's first date proposal. The Earth cafeteria was loud and full of strange smells. Zyra sat across from Jake at a round table, poking a spoon at mashed potatoes like it might attack her. Just eat it, Jake laughed. It won't bite you. I doubt that, Zyra muttered. It looks like it has already eaten something. Jake chuckled and took a bite of his burger. Zyra stared. He wasn't just strong, he was fearless. He was calm even when surrounded by noisy humans. He smiled when others bumped into him. He didn't bite anyone, not even her. Back on Zyra's planet, males proved strength by hunting, fighting, or devouring live prey. But Jake? Jake held doors open for others. This confused Zyra deeply, and also made her curious. She needed to understand him better. The mistaken invitation. Later that day, Zyra opened her alien guidebook and studied a page titled Human Relationship Building. One step caught her eye. Ask them out on a date. Beneath it, the guide explained that dates were social tests to measure bonding, interest, and long-term mating potential. Zyra gasped. This is the trial before the human chooses to bond. If she was to learn the full truth about Jake and maybe earn his trust, she needed to complete this Earth ritual. So the next morning, Zyra approached Jake at his locker. She stood tall, her silver blue skin glowing slightly in the sunlight. I request a date, she said in her most serious voice. Jake almost dropped his books. Wait, what? Zyra nodded firmly. Tonight, you and me, a proper date? Jake stared. His face turned red. Sure. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to. Zyra blinked. He accepted so quickly. This human is fearless. She walked away, muttering. Into her recorder. Subject has agreed to bonding trial. I must prepare armor, or at least a helmet. The romantic setup. Jake showed up on time. Hairbrushed, nice shirt, nervous smile. Zyra showed up in battle gear, a lightweight silver vest, boots with hidden knives, a necklace with a poison detector, and her translator blinking at full charge. Jake raised an eyebrow. Whoa, you, look cool? Thank you, Zyra said. If this is to be my final day, I will face it with honor. Jake blinked. What? Nothing. The date begins. Jake took Zyra to a small human restaurant near the school. Fairy lights were hanging on the trees outside, and music played. Gently in the background, Zyra scanned the area for hidden weapons. Jake pulled out a chair for her. She gasped. He's lowering my guard. He smiled. Ladies first. Zyra sat cautiously. The waiter brought them 2 menus. Jake ordered pasta. Zyra looked around and whispered, Do I have to slay something myself? Jake chuckled. No, it's already cooked. Zyra ordered, whatever has the most protein. She didn't recognize half the words, but the picture looked safe. They talked during dinner. Jake shared stories about Earth games, silly classmates, and his dream of becoming a spaceship pilot. Zyra listened quietly. For the first time, she felt calm, warm. curious. Then it happened. Jake reached across the table and gently held her hand. Her heart raced. This is it, she thought. The attack begins. She flinched, almost flipped the table, then froze. But Jake didn't squeeze or pull. He just smiled. It's okay, Zira. It's just a date. Zira's voice was small. You're not going to bite me? Jake blinked. What? No! She leaned closer, whispering, You're not going to eat me after this. Trial? Jake dropped his fork. What? Truth comes out. Zyra quickly explained everything. Her people's customs, mating rituals, the devouring. Jake sat stunned for a full minute. Then he laughed so hard the waiter came over to check on him. You really thought I brought you out? Here to eat you? Zyra nodded seriously. It is tradition where I come from. Jake smiled softly. Zyra, I'm not going to hurt you. Not ever. She looked at him. His eyes were kind. His hand was still warm. He wasn't pretending. This, human, was truly different. Back home, Jake walked her to the door. I had fun, he said. So, we are not enemies now? She asked. He laughed. No, we're friends. Maybe even more. Zyra tilted her head. More than friends, but less than food. Jake chuckled. Exactly. She smiled slightly. Her first real Earth smile. Inside her room, Zyra picked up her recorder. Day 3 report. The bonding trial was strange. No fighting, no blood. Just warmth, laughter, and hand-holding. Human mating is confusing, but strangely pleasant. She looked out the window at the moon, then whispered, I think. I want to do it again. Midnight escape attempt. Zyra sat on her bed, staring at the stars through the small round window. Earth's night sky looked nothing like the one on her home planet. The stars here were calm, quiet, too quiet. Something didn't feel right. The date with Jake was over. He had held her hand, told her he liked her, even smiled as he said goodbye. No weapons, no biting, no hidden attack. And that terrified her even more. Why was he being so kind? What was he waiting for? Was the attack going to come later when her guard was fully down? She had let him get close. She had laughed. She had felt warm, and now she felt vulnerable. Zyra opened her travel bag and began packing silently. Her planet's emergency escape kit was still sealed. It contained a plasma knife, a collapsible oxygen bubble, a portable distress signal and dried blue root for energy. She had only brought it in case of attack. Now, she feared she'd been tricked. She moved quickly, lightly, like she'd trained for all her life. She whispered into her recorder, Day 4. Subject has gained my trust. Too easily. Danger level, extreme. I will leave before bonding trap is complete. Outside in the cold it was just past midnight. Zyra crept through the quiet house. Jake's room door was closed. She paused outside it, hearing his soft breathing. HFY. Sleeps like a hatchling, she thought. Too soft to be real. She slipped out the back door and into the woods behind the house. The forest was colder than she expected. Fog curled around the trees. Earth insects buzzed in strange patterns. Her boots crunched over twigs. Her breath came out in small white clouds. Her plan was simple. Reach the extraction point marked on her digital map and activate the beacon. Her people would send a shuttle. She would be gone before sunrise, but then, a sound, growling. She froze. 2 glowing eyes appeared from the trees. A low snarl rumbled through the darkness. A wild earth creature, large, furry, fast. A dog. No, too big. A wolf? It stepped forward, baring teeth. A second one followed. Zyra reached for her plasma knife, but it jammed. Her hands shook, the wolves circled, her heart raced. She was not trained for this kind of danger. The rescue, then a shout. Zyra! It was Jake. He ran into the clearing, wielding a flashlight and a heavy stick. No armor, no protection, just Jake. Hey! He yelled at the creatures. Get away from her! He didn't hesitate. He stood between her and the wolves, waving, his arms and making noise. He looked ridiculous, weak, but he didn't back down. Zira couldn't believe it. Why would he risk himself for her? The wolves backed off, slowly disappearing into the woods. Jake turned to her, panting. Are you okay? He asked. Zira's eyes were wide. Why did you do that? Jake shrugged. Because I was scared something happened to you. But I ran away. He gave a small smile. Yeah, I noticed. Zara's voice cracked. You protected me. Jake looked serious now. Zira, I don't know what your world is like. But here, we don't hurt the people we care about. Zira whispered, even if they run from you. Even then. The tears. She didn't expect Zira suddenly, felt heat in her face. Her chest tightened. This wasn't fear. It wasn't battle readiness. It was emotion, and it hit her like a wave. She stepped back, confused, shaking. Her translator buzzed as it tried to name the feeling. She dropped her bag. The distress beacon rolled out. Jake picked it up. What's this? She swallowed hard. It's my way home. Jake looked at her. Do you still want to go? Zira didn't answer. Her eyes welled with tears. Jake stepped closer, gently taking her hand like before. Zira didn't pull away this time. She just whispered, You were supposed to eat me, not save me. Jake chuckled softly. I told you. I'm weird like that. Back. Inside, they walked back together in silence. Zira didn't run this time. She didn't lock her door. She sat on her bed with the emergency kit beside her, then picked up the recorder. Day 4, update. The human risked his life. Not for dominance, not for ritual, son, but for me. He had no reason, no reward, just care. New emotion detected. Possible bonding in progress, unsure what happens next. She looked at the window, then whispered, I think I don't want to leave. The truth about human males. Zira stood in front of the bathroom mirror, holding a hairbrush like it was a weapon. Her silver blue skin looked dull under Earth's yellow lights. Her long hair, always neat and warrior-like, was now a frizzy mess. She'd slept badly. Not because of danger, but because of Jake. His words from the night before kept echoing in her head. Here, we don't hurt the people we care about. How could she trust that? On her planet, kindness was a strategy. Smiles were a trap. Touch was a test. A male who saved you today might devour you tomorrow. But Jake? He didn't ask for anything. Didn't want to claim her. Didn't even yell when she ran away. He just saved her and smiled. Why? Confronting Jake. That morning, Zira walked into the kitchen and found Jake flipping pancakes. He wore a silly apron that said, Space Chef, and had batter on his nose. He grinned when he saw her. Morning. I made extras. You like blueberry now, right? Zira sat down slowly. Jake, I need to ask something serious. He turned off the stove. Okay. She stared at him. Why are you like this? He blinked. Like what? You're not trying to control me. You're not demanding anything. You even cook. Jake laughed. Is cooking weird for males where you're from? Males fight. Males hunt. Males take. Jake sat across from her, resting his chin in his hand. Well, Earth males? Some fight, yeah, but good ones? They care. They help. They build things. And cooking isn't weakness. It's kindness. Zira narrowed her eyes. Kindness is a weakness in my culture. Jake leaned closer. Maybe in yours, but here, it's how we connect. Zira looked away. Her voice was low. I don't understand you. Jake smiled. You don't have to. Just trust me. Zero whispered. That's the part I'm afraid of. Biology class. Take 2 back in school. The biology teacher was now teaching human emotional bonding. This time, Zyra sat in front. She took notes with 3 pens at once. Jake nudged her. Wow, you're really into this now. I must understand the enemy, she said flatly. He raised an eyebrow. She quickly added, I mean, the species. The teacher talked about emotional support, empathy, and how physical contact builds trust, like hugs and holding hands. Zira raised her hand. Is hugging dangerous? The class giggled. No, the teacher smiled. It's the opposite. A hug. Tell someone, you're safe, I'm here. Zira looked at Jake. He looked back. Neither said a word. But both felt something change. Alien group chat. Bad advice. That night, Zira contacted her alien friend Lurka through the intergalactic translator. Lurka was from the lava world of Trenox. Brutal. Honest. Always ready to throw rocks at anyone. Zira explained the situation. You're in too deep, Lurka said. Humans use emotion as poison. The male is weakening your defense system. Run before you lose your honor. But he cooks, Zira whispered. Lurka growled. That's a clear sign of attack. But he hugged me. A full-body trap. Zyra ended the call confused. Her heart said Jake was safe. Her training said he was dangerous. She needed answers. Real ones. Zira's shocking discovery: she sneaked into Jake's room while he was in the shower. She just wanted a clue. Some evidence he was secretly planning to devour her. Instead, she found a drawing of her, smiling. A book titled Understanding, Alien Cultures, a Beginner's Guide, and a small notebook with this written inside. Day 1. Zyra looks scared. Be gentle. Day 2. She thinks I'll eat her? Hilarious. Day 3. She held my hand. Progress. Day 4. She ran away. I panicked. Day 5. I think I like her, but don't scare her. Go slow. Zyra stared at the last line. Day 5. I think I like her. Her breath caught in her throat. He wasn't planning anything cruel, he was just patient. He cared. Zyra stepped back slowly. Her hand shook. No one had ever written about liking her before. Back home, males only wanted to conquer, control, claim. Jake wanted something else, something gentle, the hug that changed everything. That night, Zyra stood at Jake's door. He looked surprised to see her. Hey, he said softly. I read your notes. Jake blinked. You what? I read everything. He turned red. I didn't mean to be creepy. It wasn't creepy, she said. It was honest. She took a breath, then did something she'd never done before. She stepped forward and hugged him, awkward, tight, but real. Jake froze, then wrapped his arms around her too. It wasn't war. It wasn't a trap. It was peace. Learning love, the human way. Zyra was on a mission, not a military one, a romance mission. She sat on Jake's bedroom floor surrounded by snacks, pillows, and a glowing laptop. Her translator was plugged in. Her eyes were focused. Her notepad had the title, How to be a Perfect Human Mate, Step by Step. Jake had casually said, we could watch a rom-com tonight. It's how humans unwind. Zyra had no idea what a rom-com was, but she nodded and pretended to understand. Now she was watching her third one. In the movie, the male gave flowers. The female smiled and twirled. They ran through the rain. He carried her when she got a splinter. Zyra blinked. Carrying a wounded partner is flirtation? The translator confirmed it. She scribbled in her notes. Earth courtship tools, flowers, for peace, rain running, sharing food, wearing soft clothes, smiling a lot. She whispered, this is more complex than combat. First attempt at romance. Next day at school, Zyra put her plan into action. Step 1. Soft clothes. She appeared in front of Jake wearing a massive pink sweater 4 sizes too big. It had floppy sleeves that dragged on the floor. Jake blinked. "Zyra, you okay?" She nodded firmly. "I am showing softness." Jake smiled. "You mean emotionally or physically?" "Yes." Step 2. Sharing food at lunch. She placed a single gummy worm on Jake's tray. Carefully, dramatically. Jake stared. "You're giving me a snack?" "Yes," she said proudly. "For bonding." Jake laughed. "That's sweet. Weird, but sweet." Zyra looked serious. "In my culture, sharing food is rare. Usually it means I've accepted you into my hunting group." Jake smiled. "I'm honored to join your hunting team." Zyra nodded. "Welcome, human Jake. Step 3, carry him, if injured." Zyra waited until after gym class. Jake stumbled and stubbed his toe. She gasped, "You are wounded." "What?" "No, it's fine, it's just whoa." She swept him off his feet and carried him bridal style across the hallway. "Zyra, put me down." "Shh. This is earth bonding. I saw it in 3 films. Students clapped. Someone whistled. Zyra held him like a warrior carrying a fallen ally. Jake's face turned red. "Zyra!" The private talk that evening, Jake sat with Zyra under a tree in his backyard. The stars were above. The air was cool. He looked at her, still chuckling from earlier. "You're really trying, huh?" Zyra looked down. "I don't know what I'm doing." Jake softened. "It's okay. I want to understand. You confuse me. Earth confuses me." He leaned back on the grass. "We confuse ourselves too." Zyra looked up at the stars. "Where I come from, love is weakness. But here, it feels warm." Jake looked at her. "Love isn't weakness here. It's the reason we stay strong," she whispered. "Then maybe I want to learn it the human way. The first kiss attempt, and fail." Later that night, Zyra stood in front of the mirror, practicing. "Kiss him on the cheek," she told herself. "Soft, friendly, not bite." She leaned forward, accidentally head-butted the wall. "Ow!" Still. Rubbing her forehead, she walked into Jake's room. He was reading. She stood awkwardly. "Jake, I must attempt Step 7. He blinked. "Step 7 of what?" Without warning, she leaned in, and instead of kissing his cheek, she accidentally poked him in the eye with her head crest. "Ow!" Zyra panicked. "I have failed the ritual." Jake laughed while holding his eye. "It's okay, just slower next time." Zyra looked embarrassed, but Jake took her hand and whispered, "Next time, I'll help." Zyra's audio log back in her room. She clicked on her recorder. Day 6 report. I attempted romance. Results were clumsy, possibly painful, but subject showed no signs of fear. In fact, and he smiled, "I am beginning to think love is not a weapon, it's a connection. I will try again." She paused, then whispered, "I think I'm falling in love with a human male. Is that allowed?" The translator didn't answer, but her heart already had. She chose the one who didn't want to eat her. Zyra had made her choice, but she hadn't told anyone yet, not even herself. She sat alone on the school rooftop, legs pulled close to her chest. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and gold. Human birds chirped nearby, unaware of her, storming thoughts. In her hand she held the tiny silver beacon, the one that could call a ship to take her home. It buzzed gently, active, waiting. So was she. The message from the Interplanetary Exchange Authority had been clear. Your 40 Earth days are complete. Prepare for pickup. Your mating report is due within 24 hours. Zyra looked down at her notebook. It wasn't a battle report. It was a love story. Awkward, clumsy, beautiful. She had entered this world expecting to be eaten. Instead, she'd been hugged. Flashback. The night before. Jake was sitting on the front porch, hands around a cup of hot chocolate. He wore that same hoodie, slightly torn, soft, comforting. He looked up and saw Xeno walking toward him slowly. She stopped in front of him. "I think," she said quietly, "I love you." Jake blinked. She continued, "I don't fully understand it, but I feel it here." She pressed her hand to her chest. "It's warm, strange, scary, but I don't want it to stop." Jake stood. "Xeno." She looked away. "You don't have to say it back. I just needed to say it before I'm gone." Jake frowned. "Gone?" "My people are coming. For me, tomorrow." Jake's heart dropped. "So this is goodbye?" "I don't know." He reached for her hand. "Then let's make tonight unforgettable." The final human night. They went to the park. It was nearly empty. Just trees, a quiet path, and a sky full of stars. Jake spread a blanket on the grass. Xeno sat stiffly at first, unsure what to do with her arms. Jake laughed softly and laid beside her. They watched the stars. He pointed upward. "That's Orion, a hunter." Xeno tilted her head. "He doesn't look dangerous." Jake smiled. "Maybe he used to be, but now he's just part of the sky." They talked about Earth, about her planet, about war and peace, fear and hope. Xeno asked softly, "Do you think humans and aliens can ever love each other?" Jake looked at her. "They already do." And without another word, he gently kissed her forehead. Xeno closed her eyes, and for the first time she didn't feel fear. Morning of departure. The next morning the sky was clouded. Cold winds whispered through the trees. Xeno stood in the field where the extraction would happen. She wore her uniform now. Silver, official, clean. No hoodie, no pink sweater, no earth. Jake stood a few feet behind her, silent. A bright light shimmered in the sky. The ship was coming, her comm buzzed. "Xeno, status report?" She didn't answer. She turned to Jake. He gave her a small smile, the kind that tried to be strong but failed. "I guess this is it," he said. Xeno's fingers tightened around the beacon. "I'm supposed to go," she whispered. Jake nodded slowly. "But I don't want to," she added. Jake blinked. "What?" Xeno stepped closer. "I've been studying Earth customs, and I learned something." She paused. "Love is not possession. Love is not control. Love is choice." Jake's breath caught in his throat. "I choose you." The beacon, in her hand, beeped faster. The ship descended with a loud hum, but Xeno didn't move. Jake stepped beside her. She turned off the beacon. Click. Silence. The ship hovered for a moment, then vanished back into the clouds. Her people would be angry. She might be exiled, but for the first time in her life she wasn't scared, because Jake was standing next to her. 6 weeks later, Xeno now lived full-time on Earth, technically still missing from her world. Her people had not responded to her last message, but she was still sending reports. Only now, they were personal recordings she kept for herself. She sat on Jake's bed, legs crossed, wearing her hoodie again. She spoke into her device. Personal log. Day 67. I have learned how to cook eggs. I have burned toast. I have learned the difference between flirting and attacking. I have hugged 5 humans. None of them died. She smiled. Jake called from the kitchen. "Xeno, are you burning the house again?" She yelled back. "It's called flavor." He laughed. She turned off the recorder and whispered, "Earth is strange, but it's starting to feel like home." Final scene. Earth School presentation day. Jake and Xeno stood on stage in front of their class. The teacher had asked them to present a cultural exchange summary. Jake held the mic first. Earth is weird, but it's fun, and aliens don't always want to take over the world." Laughter. Xeno took the mic next. "My name is Xeno of Xantari Prime. I came to Earth believing males were predators. That love was a battlefield. That emotion was danger." She looked at Jake and smiled. "I was wrong." The room was quiet now. Love is not a fight, it's not a trick, it's not a weapon, it's a warm hoodie, a shared pizza, a hand held in silence. Jake looked away, wiping his eye. Zira finished. Human males don't eat their females after mating season. They protect them, and sometimes they even love them back. The class clapped. Some students cheered. Jake hugged her in front of everyone, and this time, she hugged him back without hesitation. Closing narration, YouTube voiceover style, Indian, came from a world where love meant war, but found peace in a boy with a soft voice and a kind heart. She studied him like a puzzle, expecting danger. But what she found was something more powerful than fear. She found a reason to stay. Because the strongest kind of love comes from the one who never wanted to control you, only to understand you.